We are live today from the Royal Military College in Duntroon. Now, after joining the Army as an Army officer, a staff cadet will expect to complete 18 months of training here at RMC, where they will learn leadership and management skills with the end goal of commanding their own platoon of soldiers. I'm here today with 3 staff cadets who are training to become Army officers to discuss training and life here at RMC. Please be sure to send through your questions. We will be live for the next hour or so and we will endeavour to answer each one. Now, let's start with our introductions. Can you please let us know your name, what stage you're at in your training at RMC, how you joined and what you hope to specialise in?
My name's Amy, I'm 25. I'm currently in second class here at RMC. Prior to joining, I was working as a public relations and marketing officer, and prior to that I studied at university doing a double degree in international relations and communications. It was in July of last year that I commenced, so I've been here for about a year now.
Wonderful.
So I'm Jesse, I'm also in second class here at RMC. Before joining, I was at high school studying mostly science and mathematics, and then joined in 2016 through the ADFA system and studied a Bachelor of Science, majoring in mathematics and chemistry, and then once that was complete, ended up here at RMC, completing my last year of training.
My name's Cass. I'm also second class. So I joined direct entry in July last year, so I've been here about a year. And before that, I was working as a team leader at a trampoline park. Before that, I completed a Bachelor of Science Human Movement in WA, and looking hopefully to go Australian Intelligence Corps.
Wonderful. Now, what made you choose to join the Army, specifically in an officer capacity?
So for myself, I'll be 5th generation Sullivan, and the first female amongst those joining. So it was always really Army for me. In terms of becoming an officer though, with my experience sort of in management beforehand, I'd always wanted to do something within that scope, and especially with my degrees, I did national security as my overall major. So that was a huge interest of mine. I too am looking to go into Intelligence Corps after graduating from the college, and it just seemed like a natural progression from there to use the skills that I already had and develop those at RMC, and then use those in the Army for a career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, for me, seeing my Army would give me a chance at a very adventurous and busy lifestyle, and provide me the privilege of being able to lead Aussie soldiers, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so for me, both my parents are actually Army, so it was quite an easy decision for me to make. My dad actually came through RMC, but Army also gave me the opportunity to do a lot of the adventurous, like outdoors stuff that I had previously enjoyed, and a chance to do that in like a really challenging environment.
Absolutely. So why do you want to specialise in your corps of choice when you finish training?
So mine has a lot to do with the area of interest from my degrees and my study. So I did national security, as I said, as my major, but my degrees were in international relations and communications. So I did a lot of sort of work in the IR space and just found it so interesting. And I've always wanted a hands-on job as well, not to just be sitting behind a desk doing something that doesn't really matter. And so the prospect of being able to work within intelligence, within the Army, and being able to shape what Jonesy here when he goes through and is an infantier, you know, what happens on the ground for them, and being able to inform those decisions is a really exciting career path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, as Amy said, I'm looking to go into the Royal Australian Infantry Corps, and I guess the reason that I want to go there specifically is because it gives me the biggest opportunity to be able to lead Australian soldiers, not just in a barrack sense, but in the field with those soldiers. And in the end, that was the crux of why I joined the Army, so that's what I'm hoping the infantry will give to me.
Natural pathway for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So my reasons are actually quite similar to Amy's in going Intelligence Corps. I also think that Intelligence Corps at the moment is like pushing the boundaries with a lot of technology and using it in the battle space, and so it's a really interesting area to go into. It's developing. It also gives yourself like 2 years opportunity to work in another corps and to learn from those and apply those when you move through to intelligence. So that's a really great opportunity to experience sort of 2 sides of the Army at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel that RMC has taught you so far that you might not have discovered in the civilian world?
Or did you want to take this on?
I'm betting quite a lot.
Well, I think the biggest thing that RMC teaches you that you won't learn in the civilian world is the military skills and the tactical application of those. So starting off at the ground level with your foundation skills being the use of the rifle, drill movements, conduct in the field, then moving up to leading your small group in your section in the field, doing small tasks and attacks and patrols, and then up to the end goal, which is leading your platoon in doing these tasks. So large platoon level attacks, ambushes, and that would be the main thing that you would never get a chance to learn in the civilian world.
Absolutely. Outside of military, I guess you can also look at things like mateship and management skills and life skills that would be quite advanced here.
So I found the actual value of teamwork, like it's something that people always talk about, saying teamwork's really important, but here you rely on your mates. Like you go out field and they have your back and you have yours, and your success is 100% dependent upon them. And so the bonds that you build with those classmates, they're essential, and you learn to work with people from all sorts of different backgrounds and to actually put the team first and get the best result possible. So you learn a lot of people skills and a lot of different styles of leadership, and see what works, what doesn't work, and actually put those into practice to see like a measurable outcome.
I think another really interesting one that we do here is a thing called TUTS. So it stands for Tactical Exercise Without Troops, and they're these sort of challenges that you're given, where you're given a mission and a task and the different sort of elements that you would have as if it was an actual tactical situation that you need to plan for as a platoon commander. And so we go away and we do these exercises and apply the things that we learn in the classroom and the tactical skills that we're given, and we get to, in a way, learn without having to be on the ground how we would actually plan for these sort of things. And we do a number of those for the different packages that we do during our studies here at RMC. So we'll do them for offensive operations, defensive operations, stability operations, and for combined arms. And so they're a very unique tool that you get given here at RMC, which teaches you the military appreciation process, which is a planning tool that we use and we'll be using throughout our careers in the Army.
So let's talk about RMC exactly. What is it?
Well, RMC is a military college. It is a college that you come to learn how to become, to learn and become an officer. You do all of your activities here at the college, whether that be for your physical training, your academic lectures, your academic tests, your exercise with our troops. And then from the college, once you've done all your learning and your training here, you're then taken out into the field, which can be anywhere across Australia, to go into the field environment and apply those skills in the more practical sense. That is what RMC is.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
a direct entry student such as Cassandra or myself, it's an 18-month course. However, if you go through ADFA, you'll do your degree qualifications first and then join for the last 12 months.
Wonderful. And how long is training to become an Army officer? I guess we've just spoken about that, but break it down into the training blocks.
Yeah, so it is for direct entry, as said, 18 months. For ADFA graduates, it's 12 months. So it's broken down into 6-month blocks. The first being third class, which is really your initial cadet training, which takes up the first 2 months of that. It's your introduction to foundation infantry tactics. So that's when you actually learn all those basic soldier skills that soldiers in the wider army learn, so that when we graduate, we know like their role and we know how to apply those. Then you move into second class for the second 6-month block, and that's where we look at more military tactics. So we look at a lot more book learning, doctrine, applying those in the military appreciation process, look at the tactics, how we apply it to our troops, and then we'll conduct offensive and defensive operations. We'll then move through to first class, which is our final 6-month block, which we then look at more complex situations and scenarios and how they're applied to current situations out in the real world. So for ADFA, they won't do the first 6 months because they'll do pretty much the same level of training during their time at ADFA, and they'll join us for the second 12-month block.
Wonderful. Now, we do have some questions coming in, so we will jump to those. Connor has asked, what's your day-to-day life like? Let's run through a day at RMC.
So we have Revelli at 06:15 in the morning, where everybody gets up. We'll start our morning routine, and we have our first class starting at 07:30. So we'll do classes during the day. This is a mixture of both physical training, of tactical lessons. We'll meet with the Padres as well, and they'll give us lessons on ethics and moral decision making. And our day finishes at about 17:30. Sometimes we have we'll do more team-based sports in the afternoon, but otherwise the day finishes at about 5:30.
Yeah, sure. 17:30.
And then sometimes after that there may be extra activities, so we often come up here into the mess and we'll have a parade. There'll be debating activities, there'll be speeches. It's always good fun.
Each week differs slightly depending on what block of training we're in. So some weeks will be more focused on drill out on the parade ground. Other weeks will be more focused on academic learning. Some weeks we'll go out and do more practical lessons in an almost field-based environment. So it just depends what block of training we're in at the time.
It is worth noting, Jessie, as you just said, the building that we're in right now, that's the mess. What happens here?
So the Corps of Staff Cadets Mess is the sort of social hub of the college. It's where all three classes come to eat and then to socialise after that. So you come here 3 times a day for your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner, and often you'll stay around for a coffee, for a beer at the bar here, depending on what time of the day it is, of course. And yeah, really is just where you have a bunch of time with your mates.
And what's the difference like day to day here on college versus when you're out on field?
Well, here at the college, it's quite a normal lifestyle, you might say. However, in the field, there's different expectations because out in the field you are in an operational environment where you are mimicking what it would be like to be leading and conducting tactical tasks. And so in the field, it's much more intense. However, very fulfilling.
That's
pretty
what you're here
enjoyable.
for, isn't it?
Yep.
How do you find, I guess, the difference between going outfield and being here?
As Jessie said, very different environments.
Yeah.
So when you're out doing your battle blocks, where you get to physically apply the trainings that you do in the classroom, you're switched on 100% of the time. So from patrolling during the day, completing a tactical task against enemy, to doing picket at night where you sit on a gun and you watch for any enemy that might be approaching your harbour and looking out for your mates. You turn sort of away from the regular life that you lead here at the college, and you encompass sort of all of those things that you learn and you apply them in a tactical sense. So it's an extremely new and different thing that you do out there, but it's very fulfilling at the same time.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, we actually, Amy, got to have a chat with you yesterday and find out about how you enjoyed your first year here at RMC. So why don't we have a look at that now? So I'm here with Amy. Amy, can you tell us where we are this morning?
We're at the gym here at the Royal Military College, Duntroon.
Can you tell me a little bit about life at RMC and what it's like living here at the college?
It's incredible. So you're basically living with 70 of your best friends. And we spend the day together sort of going around learning military tactics, history. We do physical training. We'll do lessons when we're here at the college. And then we also go out and we do sort of training blocks as well. So we get that hands-on experience. But on a day-to-day basis, I get to work with my best friends every day. So it's pretty good.
So let's talk about the first phase of training at RMC. How did you find the first 6 months?
It was definitely an adjustment. So prior to joining in July, I studied at university for 4 years and did a double degree, and then I was working here in Canberra for 2 years. And then coming here was definitely very different. So you spend your first week doing anything called Raise Week, where the first class cadets here get an opportunity to sort of cut their teeth a bit in a leadership sense, and they'll actually coach you through that time in preparation for you meeting your third class staff. From there, you then introduced into third class and you head out to Camp Blake at the Majura training area, and that's where you learn how to do all of these fantastic classes. So you learn how to do weapons handling, you learn military tactics, you learn everything that you could ever need to know, not only as an army officer, but as a soldier within the army as well.
So tell me, what has been your favourite aspect of training to date?
I would definitely say it's what you learn about yourself. So we've done 2 exercises so far. I'm now in second class, but in third class we did an exercise called Stratton, which was a intro to sleep and food deprivation. And I recently just completed exercise Shaggy Ridge, which is a full food and sleep deprivation exercise. And you learn that you can go so much further than you think you can. And you've just done this incredible thing that nobody else that you will meet in your life normally would have ever thought of doing, and you've come out on top. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. Thanks, Amy. Please make sure you're getting your questions through. As I said, we'll be here for a little while longer to answer your questions. We'll dive straight back into them. Now, Sally has asked, what kind of academics do you do at RMC? So let's talk about your classes.
So as I was saying earlier, with the tactical exercises without shoots, we'll do a lot of training in the lead up to those to understand the individual military appreciation process, which are lots of big words to understand. Yeah, exactly. But it's basically this huge process for how we make tactical decisions and how we'll apply those as platoon commanders when we leave the college. And there's so many components to it, and so you'll learn from different instructors the different ways that you will look at each of them with a particular military task. So, for example, we just finished our defensive operations package where we did tactical exercises without troops on defensive positions and how you would defend that from an enemy, or a delay position and how you affect, say, 90 minutes of delay and the different obstacles and effects that you can use to achieve that. So we have classes specifically about that in the lead up to, so that we can apply that and do those exercises, so that when we go out on our battle blocks and do those actual physical exercises on the ground, we know how to apply that.
Yeah, and I'd say for the most part that the academics are quite interesting and aren't just in regards to the tactical tasks. So we have lots of lectures on case studies of different conflicts and battles throughout history, and we also have lectures on sort of ethical decision making, as Amy mentioned earlier, leadership, quite a few different topics covered off in our academics.
I think it's one way to describe it is it's actually in second class quite similar to university, where you will do your lectures and your like study at night, your book learning, pre-readings, and then you apply that in the classroom. And then you'll then go out in the field and apply that in a field environment. So it's actually quite similar. For the first 6 months, it's a little bit different. So you'll spend time in the lecture room, but a lot of it is not quite so much book-based. It's a lot more practical. So you'll learn the basics of it, and then you'll immediately go out and apply that for that first 6 month period. And then when you get into second class, which is what pretty much we've just done, which is why we talk about it a lot, that's when it becomes sort of a lot more lecture heavy and book based to apply those theories at a heavier level, I guess.
And there are exams for these classes?
Yes, so we'll do major exams for the packages that we've just done. So we did an offensive operations exam and a defensive operations exam, but why I harp on about the shoot so much is that's really where you get to show that you understand how these principles work and that you can apply them. So they're the big ticket items, if that makes sense, in second class.
Yeah, okay, cool. Amber has asked, what's the physical training like?
Well, the physical training is really varied, which makes it the most enjoyable part of the college, really. There is the expectation to be able to pass the basic fitness assessment, which is focused on high-speed running over 2.4 kilometres, push-ups and sit-ups. However, there is then the further requirements for physical training, which is more related to your time in the field, which has to do with lots of load carriage, which is where you'll see a lot of weights coming into the training program. And that's all based on preparing your body to be able to carry loads in a symmetrical and sometimes asymmetrical situation, whether you're carrying large logs, jerry cans, or whether you're carrying your pack on your back. And it makes it one of the most enjoyable parts of the college because it's so varied and you're never doing the same thing twice at the gym with the PTIs.
The physical training is also, it's really well planned and really well run. There is a basic fitness standard to get in, and then the idea behind it is that you meet a minimum requirement and they can train you for fitness. So they'll train you from there. They recognise your starting level and they recognise where you need to be, and they're incredibly good at getting you to that level.
So I suppose we can talk about physical fitness when you're going through the application process. Amy and Cass, you both could say struggled with the fitness before you actually came through to RMC.
We could say struggled. I bombed. I was terrible. I absolutely bombed the beep test.
Okay.
So I failed that aspect of my selection board. However, they recognised other skills and turned around. They actually helped give me a program. So the ADF Fitness app, they suggested that, and I used that in the next following 6 weeks up until coming in and passed my fitness test. They also then, once I got here, the fitness instructors turned around and developed like personal programs for each of us here in order to help us continue developing. So it's a really well supported program, and passing straight up is not the be all and the end all. They will help you get to where you need to be.
I was in the exact same boat as Cass. I did my selection board and I think I got a 5.7 on the beep test. It was something abysmal. I'm still a terrible runner as well, but I had my officer selection board sort of review at the end, and we had that interview, and it was a point that was raised, being like, are you going to be able to make this? And I said, yes. I will see you 6 weeks out and I'll pass that PFA. And I did. I managed to. I trained with a personal trainer for the weeks leading up, and I managed to hit that 7.5 that I needed. And I haven't gotten much higher than that. I'm quite strong for my size, so my push-ups have increased exponentially. I can do the max sit-ups as well. I've just always been a bit of a bad runner, but it shouldn't deter anyone from it, because our PTIs here have worked so hard to get us all up to a standard beyond where I ever thought I could be. So very supportive here.
I mean, it's so important to note, I guess we have so many women and coming through the application process who, I guess, panic a little bit about the fitness component of it, and it's not the be-all and end-all. Like you say, there's the ADF Active app, there's also fit prep opportunities, plenty of opportunities through the Defence Recruiting Centre.
Yeah, for me, I went to a lot of the practice, the trial runs that a lot of the recruitment centres do. I found that really helpful. And just if you're willing to commit and work hard, then there's so many ways that they'll help you do that.
Awesome. Now, Ingie has asked, what do you do in your spare time outside of classes?
It's really social here at the college, because you're doing this joined experience and you're all like-minded people. All of these people basically become your friends. So we hang out on weekends, we go out for dinner and drinks for Friday night, we go and see movies together. The company that I'm in, Gallipoli, we have a really big common area where we've got this big TV set up, and so we'll have cook-ups of a Saturday morning and watch TV together. So it's a really social place here at the college.
Yeah, great.
I mean, there's also a lot of time for your own personal pursuits. So outside of spending time with your mates, I always find a chance to do my own personal training, whether that be for any of the different sports I like to try and do, and have time to do other things like read or play games or all those sorts of personal pursuits. They don't go out the window when you come here.
Fantastic. Amber has asked, do you have any tips for the OSB, so the Officer Selection Board? So that's one of the last steps for any officer looking to appoint in the recruiting process. So what kind of tips or advice would you give for that?
I would say back yourself. So as I said, I wasn't the most physically strong person coming into it. I knew that I wasn't going to make the mark on the fitness test on that day, but it didn't stop me from being able to shine in other areas where I knew that I was okay, if that makes sense. So I had a fantastic mentor who I was able to talk to beforehand, and I asked her what advice she would give me, and that's what she told me. She said, go in there, back yourself, and be confident, because at the end of the day, you're all in there looking for the same job, to be leaders of the Army, and so you just need to believe in yourself and believe that they chose you for a reason. They've flown you to Canberra, of all places, to go through this process, so they've got to be something that they saw in you.
Took the words straight out of my mouth, yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same. Also, there are lots of options if you are stressing about what it's going to involve, what kind of questions they're going to ask. There are a lot of options. You can go through recruiting and ask to be put in touch with a mentor that's done it before. You can jump on the Defence website, look at current operations so that you're aware of what's happening. But most importantly is just be yourself. Like, you're there for a reason. There's no cookie cutter mould, and they want to see you and what you're going to bring to Army. So be yourself and back yourself.
And do your homework.
Do that.
So Lee has asked, what advice would you give to a student joining once they've completed school?
Well, that's exactly what I did. I came to ADFA after finishing high school. So finished high school in 2014, started my application process in 2015, and then started ADFA in 2016. And it was a very smooth process. There weren't many hiccups. It works similarly to people who want to join while still at school.
Yep. Wonderful. Hayley has asked, what kind of transferable skills do you learn at RMC?
I think the management side of things is a huge one. So not only do you do administration, but you also learn the management of people. And then beyond that, if you decide that, after your return of service obligation, that Army isn't the long-term career that you want it to be, there are so many sort of cross-career skills that you can take with you. And a huge one that you learn throughout your time at RMC is the management of people and caring and knowing your subordinates. And that's something that you can take with you to any job.
That's a huge component of it here, isn't it? It's such a people-based, environment and job role in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'd say that you also sort of learn small life skills. So, you will learn a lot about how to train, how to be healthy, how to be fit, things that you might not have known before you joined.
Time management?
Yes, definitely time management.
Huge
That's
time management.
Yep.
You learn that very quickly, very early on. There is a lot of those skills that aren't necessarily measurable on a piece of paper, but the ability to look after others, look after yourself, do basic admin. I've learnt so much about how to co-ord events and teams, how to make decisions, how to effectively time manage. There's a lot of skills, especially sort of in that project manager sort of area, that are incredibly transferable.
Yeah. And I guess, Cass, you came to RMC at a bit of an older age, if you could say that, you're 28, but you had a bit of a life experience before you actually appointed here, whereas Jessie, you came straight from home, you had just finished school, so you didn't really have a lot of that life experience really, but they teach you it all pretty quickly, so that would definitely look good on a resume very soon, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I find that while the people who came in after some time do have other skills and just probably a bit of maturity, it didn't put me at that much of a disadvantage. I was able to learn from them and from our instructors, and then by the time we get to this stage of our training, we're all pretty well on the same playing field.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you have to live on campus or on base?
No, you don't, especially if you have a family or a partner. They're able to come to Canberra with you. We have an area on base called the Patch, which is where our families live. So it means you get to spend the day studying with us as you normally would from that 7:30 until 5:30. But then at the end of it, you get to go home to your family, but still have that connection to RMC with being on base. There's also options to live off if you, don't want to be on RMC or have other extenuating circumstances. Otherwise, everybody who is a member without dependents has a room allocated to them within the lines here, so our barracks on base. So we're broken up into different companies. We're all in different companies here, but it means that we live in different groups and houses around the college.
Wonderful. There's a little bit of noise happening right now. What's happening? Is that an everyday thing?
Yes. This is the taking down of the flags, which is happening just outside. Right?
Wonderful. So Genghis has asked, what are some of the tactics you're taught at RMC?
Well, you start off at a very low level, being just the soldier level, how to move in a tactical environment and how to react to certain things, being that contacts with the enemy or explosions, to being a mine, things like that. You then move up a stage to the section level, which is an 8-person team, and you practice moving around with that team and reacting to those same occurrences, but in a larger group. And it's at that stage where you start looking at your ability to be able to fight and to be able to make a big difference in the battlefield. You then move a step up to the platoon level, which is a combination of 3 sections and being a 30-person group, and you learn to, again, react to contacts, react to occurrences on the battlefield with that platoon, and that is 24/7. You're constantly with that platoon in the tactical environment, and that is one of the most satisfying things because you won't learn that anywhere else apart
No,
from here.
definitely not.
Larger than that, though, you'll go through stages as being section commanders and platoon commanders. So you'll be faced with those problems, but you'll be in control of those 30 or those 10 people, and you'll have to deal with that situation and choose a course of action that not only sort of preserves your team, but also achieves the mission. So there's, enormous sort of challenges that come with that.
We do that in a number of different environments. So we have different field exercises. So one will be for the offensive operations. So if we are, say, on the attack, we'll do defensive operations, which is another skill set again. And then moving into the final 6 months, we'll do, say, like combined arms, which is in, say, like an urban environment. We'll also do that under arduous conditions at the same time. So we apply them in like a range of different scenarios as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you're all cadets here, but can you tell me what the role of a small group instructor would play in your life here at RMC?
So for the guys that go direct entry, you get your first small group instructor straight away at your initial cadet training.
Okay.
They are responsible for a section size, and they're the ones that teach you pretty much everything. So initially it'll be those foundation fighting skills. They're responsible for your health and well-being, ensuring that you learn all the skills that you need to, then testing all those skills, especially at cadet training. And then as you move through, they are the ones that run like syndicates, classes, to discuss with you the knowledge and how to apply that as you move through college.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, while he's not here with us today, we did actually get to speak with Joel yesterday, who is a small group instructor here at RMC, to get a little bit of info about what you can expect when you're training at RMC. So let's have a look at that now. I'm here with Joel, who is a small group instructor here at RMC. Joel, can you tell us where we are today?
We're currently in the military instruction block at RMC Duntroon in the Rao Theatre. This is our biggest theatre here and the primary learning place for the staff cadets as we give them their instruction.
Can you tell me about your job role here at RMC and what some of your daily duties involve?
I'm a small group instructor. We take a primary role in the academic and tactical instruction of the staff cadets. When we're doing our tactics, we take more of a mentoring role and guide the staff cadets as they learn to become platoon commanders. I'm really excited to be here because I used to be a staff cadet here and I graduated in the end of 2012, and I really enjoyed my time as a staff cadet, and that was primarily due to the fantastic instructors. So I'm excited to be back here and be able to provide some mentoring and wisdom to our future platoon commanders.
Can you tell me a little bit about the facilities here at RMC?
The facilities are outstanding. We have wonderful sporting and fitness facilities such as the gym and our AFL and rugby ovals. And the staff cadets partake in sport at least 2 times a week and competitions throughout the weekends.
And what kind of training would you expect here at RMC as a cadet?
So those who want to come to the Royal Military College can expect to do 18 months as a staff cadet, broken up into 3 phases, or what we call classes. So third class primarily focuses on the individual soldier skills up to section level, leading into second class where we start to learn about being what it takes to be a platoon commander through offensive and defensive operations, and that's 6 months for each of the classes. First class, we start to progress into the all-core platoon commander skills, focusing on combined arms and stability operations. And throughout the entire 18 months, you'll continually be exposed to different types of leadership and ethics lessons, as well as defense communication and the requirements to administer soldiers when you leave the college as a platoon commander.
And what kind of person would you recommend apply for an officer role?
We're looking for people of good character who are enthusiastic, eager to learn, and are looking for a challenge and really place a high value on teamwork.
Wonderful. Thanks, Joel. Questions have been great so far, so please keep getting them through. Now, Sally has asked, what kind of subjects do you need to study in high school and or college or uni to get into RMC?
Well, there isn't any particular requirement of subjects to study. English and math, I believe, are important. However, more details for that one would be on the Defence Jobs website.
Absolutely. So we're looking at English and maths as the prerequisites. Any particular roles, we might be looking at science or some other job roles as well. But obviously it will vary depending on your job role and your method of entry. So please make sure you check out the Defence Jobs website for that one. You can find the specific education requirements in the specific job role title. Just have a scroll down. It's about halfway down the page. So Oliver has asked, what's the most unexpected thing you've found since joining the Army? Did you have any, Cass, I guess, with an Army family?
I'm not sure. So for me, it's a bit different because I sort of, with my family being Army, I sort of knew a lot more about what I was coming into. I think you never quite know what you're getting yourself into here. But I thought I was, quite well-centred, knew what I wanted, and was really good with people. And then I didn't expect how much the people here would impact who I was and my life. They are basically my family now. We live together, we socialise together. They know me better than I probably know myself now, and I hadn't quite expected that to be the case. Also for myself, I thought I was going to be terrible at field.
Okay.
I knew I was going to be good at academics, but I had not expected to be as competent in a field environment. I thought that my size, being a girl, I would probably struggle a lot more at that. And I actually found out that wasn't the case. I love field and I'm actually quite competent at it. So that was quite surprising for me.
I'd echo some of those thoughts. Field seems very daunting when you have a pack that sort of looks like
Half
it's
the
about
size of
half
you.
your size. And you have to go out there and do these enormous tasks and do things like exercise Shaggy Ridge, which is a food and sleep deprivation exercise where you're just working for a lot of the time. But you do those kind of things and it's insanely uplifting to make it to the end and have accomplished something like that. And I was terrified of Shaggy beforehand, just the thought of it, of having to go without any food, without any sleep, and wondering how you're going to make it to the end of something like that. And people always tell you horror stories about Shaggy as well, and you're sitting there in third class shaking in your boots about how you're ever going to make it to first class. And then just completing something like that and making it to the end and feeling like it wasn't so bad. You know, and I could maybe do it again if I really had to, is one of the best things that I've gotten from this college.
Maybe do it again.
Yeah, maybe. Not definitely.
Jessie, did you find anything that maybe surprised you?
What surprised me the most was how social it all was. You know, it was within the first few weeks out of the initial training. I was out having drinks with a whole bunch of new mates that were, I felt just as close to as the people I'd left behind back at home. I'm not saying that I've lost those mates now. I'm still just as close with those mates as well. But that was what surprised me the most.
Gained a whole group, new circle.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
And I guess you come from all over as well. I mean, Emmy, you're from Canberra originally, but Melbourne and kind of all over. Or Brisbane or WA.
Brisbane,
yeah.
WA, either one.
And I guess you're all in that same position, aren't you, where you've come from all over the country and kind of tossed together.
It's not even all over the country, it's all over the world. So we have international cadets as well that come and join the college. So we have people from Tonga, Fiji, New Zealand, Qatar, Afghanistan. So we actually get to meet so many people from around Australia and around the world, which is an incredible experience.
Now, they have joined on a sort of a transfer capacity, is that correct?
Yes.
Because you do need to be an Australian citizen to be a part of the Australian Defence Force. But what an unreal opportunity for them, I guess, to get the opportunity to come and visit. And likewise, you will get the opportunity to travel as well?
Yeah, so we get to travel. There are exchanges, which Sully has been on, she can tell you about. We also we've sent 2 cadets currently over in New Zealand at their officer training school. So there's so many opportunities available.
Yeah, so we have a sister program with OCS, which is the Officer Training School in New Zealand, where 2 of their cadets will come to RMC and 2 of our cadets will go over there. So that's a program that people can apply for in 3rd class and then be sent there in 2nd class. And they're on the exact same schedule as us in terms of when they'll graduate. So there's no sort of detriment for going overseas. They just get a new opportunity from that. What Cass was mentioning earlier is I did a foreign exchange program with the Indonesian Academy for their cadets, and that was earlier this year. So I had the opportunity to go to Indonesia for a week and see their academy there and meet the cadets, and likewise a group of their cadets came here to the college to see sort of our classes and our facilities and learn about Australia as well. So that was a fantastic opportunity that I got.
That's unreal. Rick has asked, does Duntroon do mature age entry?
Yes. Well, I'm 28.
28?
They do. We have, I think our oldest currently is 36.
Okay.
So they definitely do mature age entry. They look at like your previous experience and your history, why you want to join, all those things. But I'm not sure if there's an age limit, but I'm sure they'll be available on defence jobs.
There's absolutely age limits, and they are absolutely on defence jobs. But I guess, when you're looking at entry, you've got to fill the prerequisites. So you're looking at the physical requirements and the training requirements. You do have to be able to fulfil those entry requirements regardless of age. So Andy has asked, can I bring my family with me to RMC? So I guess we've already discussed that, yes, you can live on base with them. Do they get the opportunity to visit?
Yeah, so being on base, it's literally a 5-minute walk just down the road there. So they get to see the facilities here. We do a lot of family events as well. So of a Saturday morning, we'll do company training where the company will get together and we'll do an activity, whether that be playing sports together or going out for a picnic. And families are usually invited to that. So they not only get to see the other people that their partner works with on a day-to-day basis, but also a bit about what we do here at the college. And so they're very much invited into the college here.
And similarly, Defence do grant you the opportunity to visit home.
Yes, so it's a little bit different for me because I'm in Canberra already. I get to see my friends and family very regularly, but for these 2, I know that they get the opportunity to go home 3 times a year, and at a training establishment, those are Defence-funded flights as well. So they're able to see their families and supported by Defence with that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Haley has asked, how many people are you trained to manage by the end of your training? So, end game.
It's a bit, so as a platoon commander, you are told that you are going to be expected to, when you graduate, be in charge of around 30 people.
Okay.
Now, as you progress past that, that'll obviously increase as you go. But you begin with a section which is around about 10 people, and then when you graduate, a platoon commander, roughly about 30.
However, it does vary depending on the job role you go into, because there will be people who may go into a Royal Australian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers workshop and may be in charge of up to 60, 70 skilled craftsmen and craftswomen in that workshop.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Now, Anne Sirk has asked, is RMC Duntroon only for Army as opposed to ADFA?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do have places for Air Force personnel who are going to become, they're feeding into a certain role as an AGI, but otherwise it is Army exclusive.
When you say AGI?
The Ground Defence Officers.
Perfect.
So the Ground Defence Officers will come through the RMC training.
Yep.
And will then additionally do the Air Force Officer training, and then the Air Force Officer particular schools for the ground-based, for the ground defence officers, and then they will qualify.
So basically ADFA is joint service, and then all the Army cadets from ADFA will move across to RMC to do their last 12 months of military-specific training, whereas the Air Force and the Navy cadets will go to their respective officer training establishments.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, Jessie, we got the opportunity to speak with you yesterday and have a listen to the things that you've learnt while studying at RMC. So let's have a look at that now. I'm here with Jesse. Jesse, can you tell us where we are?
So right now we're in front of the Royal Military College parade ground, next to the long-term accommodation buildings and in front of the flagpole.
So did you consider yourself a leader prior to appointing at RMC, or would you say they unlocked that within you?
Yeah, I do consider myself to have been a leader before RMC. However, it was here at RMC that I learned new skills and was given opportunities to really hone and develop the skills I already had to becoming a leader.
What kind of experience did you have prior?
So nothing too extreme or too formal. I was a AFL captain back in my local club, and I had some small positions within my school.
And so how did RMC teach you these leadership skills, and then how did you go on to use them?
Well, they give you numerous opportunities to apply leadership among your peers. So, for example, you get your tactical chances to apply leadership, or when you conduct a platoon command lead or a section command lead out in the field. You get your social opportunities to apply leadership, so you get positions within your companies, whether that be in charge of merchandise, in charge of sport, in charge of admin. And then for myself, I also have been given the opportunity to run physical training for my cohort, and that's something I really enjoy.
Let's talk about the second phase of training at RMC. How did you find that?
So the second phase of training at RMC is really enjoyable. It's where you do the baseline level of skills you need to move into first class, being the next 6 months at RMC. So you start off with offensive operations, where you get to train and then lead your platoon doing attacks and ambushes out in the field. You then move on to defensive operations, where you dig in a position and get to fight with your platoon from that position and get to lead your platoon in defending that position. And then from there, you've learnt those baseline skills you need, and you get to move into first class, and at which point you finish off your training using those skills you already honed in second class, and then from there you hopefully move into your corps. So for me, hopefully the Royal Australian Infantry.
What would you say is your favourite aspect of living at RMC?
I think the best thing about living at RMC is being so close to everything I do. So I'm a 2-minute bike ride away from the mess where I eat and I socialise, 2-minute bike ride away from the gym where I train and I socialise, and I live right next door to some of my best mates.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jesse. Thank you so much for sending through your questions. We are here for only a few minutes longer, so we're wrapping up our questions now. So any last minute questions, please send them through. Now, Lydia has asked, do you get paid while doing your training?
Yes.
Important question and good question. Yes, you do.
Yeah, it's actually really good money for a training establishment as well. So I'm getting paid more now as I did when I was a PR and marketing officer.
Amazing.
And you get training sort of bonuses as well. And so even though you are making contributions towards your accommodation while you're here, it is substantially remunerated as well. So yeah, very good.
What about some of the other benefits that you, I guess, military as a whole, so Australian Defence Force, but also RMC specific?
So you're looked after in a medical sense as well. So your medical, your dental, and your physio if you need it, and then from there, if you are injured, God forbid, you will also be covered for that. And that is, really handy because those facilities are on base. You can access them really quickly, and they don't take much out of your day.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, also on that, if you do have dependents, it does apply to dependents in a limited fashion as well. So you have that added bonus.
Yeah, fantastic. What about the opportunities for ongoing upgrading and upskilling?
Yeah, so throughout your career in the Army, so post-graduating here, you're constantly looked after. So I plan to do my Masters once I've sort of settled into a posting, and even just doing your Bachelor's, that's fully supported if you have sort of the grades for it and you put that case forward. The Army wants you to be qualified and they want you to continue to be a better leader and a better version of yourself. So it's a very supportive career model. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
And it's important to note that your training doesn't stop here at RMC. You will do more weeks of training outside of RMC than you will while inside RMC. And that'll be in your development towards becoming a more specialised officer and a more senior officer.
It's also noted that it can be corps dependent. So each corps also has the opportunity to do a number of different courses available. Some of those give you the opportunity to do those courses overseas as well, which is a pretty cool opportunity.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of opportunity if you want to progress. Also, if those skills overlap with your current job role, it's incredibly supported and there's a lot of opportunity to progress.
Fantastic. Now, a common question that we get asked here, and it's very important as well, what is the food like here at RMC?
Yeah, food is pretty good. Food is really good. This morning had bacon, 3 types of eggs and some porridge, so it's pretty lovely. And lunch is good. Dinner's always pretty good. So yeah.
You've got a high work rate, so they feed you pretty well.
Fantastic. Now, what would you say would be, I guess, your best moment here, as well as a challenge that you've overcome?
My best moment. So at the start of the year, I was selected to be the QNCO, which is the Quartermaster Non-Commissioned Officer for my company, which is a role given to an individual in second class. So there are 2 per company, so 1 for the quartermaster and 1 for admin, and I got selected for one of mine, which was very exciting.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But it's a small way that you get to sort of help out in the college and understand the different processes of how sort of the chain of command works and how you'll be working within that when you leave as well. So it was a really interesting opportunity for me and one that I really enjoyed as well.
I'd say my most rewarding moment was my most recent platoon command out on the defensive operations field phase, and got a chance to lead my platoon right near the end of the exercise. And the platoon at that stage had been working together for over a month of field time, including the offensive operations phase before that, and at this stage had begun to gel really well, was performing really highly, and getting to take command of that team and achieve the mission we've been set was really satisfying, and so I really enjoyed that. The biggest challenge I'd say that I've experienced throughout my entire military career would have to be being nervous, leading my peers, because it's one thing to lead people that may have to follow you, but leading people that don't necessarily have to follow you, not just in the field but also in a more relaxed sense, it can be very difficult. And when you manage to get things out of your mates and you manage to achieve a task, it's really rewarding.
So for me, I'll start with my challenge. For me was public speaking. I have always been okay at it, but I am very, very nervous, sweaty palms. I've always struggled with it, and that's something that in the college that you definitely have to overcome quickly. And I found that I was in a really supportive environment where I was pushed, and now I'm talking fine. So I found that was probably the biggest challenge for me, is getting up in front of my peers, in front of staff, and being able to hold a conversation, think on my feet at the same time. But that's something that you learn to adapt to. For me, probably the most rewarding experience I had was on our most recent field phase, which was defensive operations. In the culminating activity, which was a big defensive battle that we'd been preparing for 2 weeks, my platoon was selected to actually be the enemy party, so to conduct an assault on the rest of our class.
Okay.
And I was selected to be platoon commander for that. So I got to command my platoon as an enemy and work with actual Australian soldiers who were also leading this assault, to work with them and conduct this assault, multiple assaults with them on our own class, was an incredible experience.
Fantastic. And endgame, I suppose. We're all at RMC for a reason, to commission as an officer into your respective corps. When do you get to choose which corps that you go into?
So that's a process that we go through during first class. So throughout RMC, you'll meet with your the OC of your company, and you'll indicate which cause you're interested in. But in first class, you'll put in your actual preferences. So you'll give them 3, so ranked 1, 2, and 3, and then they'll look at where you sit in the order of merit, which is a combination of your field results, your academic results, and your standing within the college. And they'll look at your placing within that, how well you've been performing, and then they'll decide how many places are actually available in each course, and if you're a core fit, which is determined by the representative, and then from there you'll be allocated into a core. So we'll be doing that within the next couple of months, indicating which course that we would like, and then you're allocated about a month out from graduation.
Wonderful. Guess what? That's about all we have time for today. So thank you so much for your questions. Please don't forget you can head to the Defence Jobs website to apply online or find out some more information about becoming an Army officer or training at RMC. So thank you to Jessie, Amy and Cass for sitting with me today. You've been fantastic at answering our questions, and good luck with the rest of your training. If we haven't answered your questions, we will get to them in the next few days. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.